you that are coming in that have been part of the Small Business Survivalist series from the start. Welcome. It's always awesome to have y'all here. Kate, I see you, and Ginger, Adam, good morning, Adam Citron. We just love seeing so many familiar faces out there. So if you can pop your camera on, guys, give us a little face, a little body language. Boy, does it help. Or resounding silence is the other option. We can go there too. That's fine.
Oh my God.
It's a whole new world. You know, the funny thing is, though, that this is what a lot of in-person meetings are like as well. Well, we're just waiting for everyone to walk in, and everybody can stretch your legs while we're waiting, and it's no different. Absolutely no different.
Got that right. There's just, you know, less bagels, basically.
True. What are bagels?
What are bagels?
We don't have bagels in Australia. Believe that or not, we don't have bagels in Australia.
Oh.
Is that why you left?
Yes. Pursued the bagels across the globe.
All right, guys, we're going to start it at exactly 10:04. So prepare thyselves. I'm going to invite you to join us on social. We're going to put the hashtags in here, as well as the tags for the speaker. Oh, and I just misspelled that, and it doesn't let you delete. Dang it.
That's all right. Throw up sales. That's how I say it. I do have a lisp, so that's very good. Getting value for money, folks. Some entertainment. This is great.
We do like to remind people, too, that it actually is Friday. For those of you that have woke up the past 3 days thinking it was Tuesday, you have landed on a Friday. I'm not sure it makes any difference for any one of us. But we've survived one more week. We've survived one more week. And I am happy to say that we are being joined and monitored by Miss Lori Lightfoot. She's making sure that our social distancing is appropriate. And she's watching you. I want you to know. She's making sure it all gets taken care of. So, hey, Noelle, it's great to see you in here. I didn't mean to scare you and call you out. Hi. I can see we've also got some folks joining by phone. Hey, Kate. Good to see you, hon. And we've got Shaylee coming in. Oh, Joseph and Jasmine. Hi, guys. It's great to see you. All right. Well, guys, we're very excited to. Give me 1 second. Can we do a mute all? We will unmute you later, but anybody get that makes you completely unable to process thought anymore? Let's eliminate that immediately. I want to thank you, first of all, for showing up to, what is this? Is this our 5th or 6th Small Business Survivalist webinar? We have been really reaching out into our network to pull together the people that we know are authentically experts in their industries, to give you guys not only just insights of where we're going, but some tools that you can use immediately. And one of the biggest things that we're hearing, and we, if you've been with us from the beginning, we've talked about everything from how to make sure that you're maintaining communication during crisis so that you're not terrified to send out that social media post or that email, to really understanding how the cache works for those of you that were able to connect with either of the experts from last week's session. I know that a great example, this is just an example of how powerful it is to bring in our networks. I had been waiting for my bank to submit my paperwork, and I got an email last night that they hadn't done it yet. So sorry, we hope we can get you in for the next round. And I had applied within the first hour. I called Mr. Mayersky from Fifth Third. He took care of me in the same day, and I've already been able to process my payment information, even though my current account with him has maybe $300 in it, because it's just leftover VAR payments that are coming through. So I really do encourage you to make sure that you're reaching out with the folks that we're connecting you with, because they are not only the experts in their industry, but they're people that we've worked with, that we know and trust, and have really vetted to be able to bring you what you need as quickly as we possibly can. So thank you for joining us. Today we're getting into one of the heaviest topics that small business owners, associations, banks, anybody that is in a client-facing role is going through. And that's talking about sales and talking about money. The amount of fear that the pandemic has caused, and the amount of fear that we are embracing from seeing businesses around us shutter. And of course, I'm going to have everything off except for my daughter's instant messenger. It has brought so many people to an absolute standstill in how they're running their businesses. And I called on one of my sales business besties, Mr. Micallef, who is absolutely one of the country's foremost sales leaders, and really kind of got down to the basics of what we can do to empower everyone in the organization to start embracing sales again, and to give you some of the tools that you need to be able to move that forward. Because truly, if what you do serves, and if you have fought this hard and hung in here this long to be able to take care of people, and you stop selling, you are going to lose your ability to be of service to the people who need you most. And that is unacceptable. We need each and every one of you to be able to continue to have those conversations, to be paid for what you do, and to really understand that there is a way to have conversation about money and sales when people are coming from a place of fear and lack. And so we're going to talk about a lot of the different psychological and emotional components, as well as some of the foundational sales components that we want to make sure that you have to move forward. And so we're going to dive into it. And so I am just delighted beyond words to be able to introduce you to Joe Micallef. He has been a dear friend and an inspiration for At Revenue since our inception. And guys, listen, he's the real deal. He's got more than 30 years of banking and sales leadership in Australia and Canada and the US. He works on that global level and has been a small business owner for many, many, many years. So he's able to span both of those lines of communication, and he does it in a way that's, I know it's very aligned with At Revenue's values of selling from the heart and professionally loving the person across the table for you. But more than just having the At Revenue stamp of approval, he also has some lovely things that follow him around, like his outstanding services to entrepreneur award from the Chicago Tribune, or the Daily Herald's Business Ledger. He's been recognized locally and nationally, and he is one of just the most passionate, genuine, and engaging people that I've had an opportunity to work with. And then he comes with this accent. Take it away, Mr. Micallef.
G'day, mates. It sounds like I'm banging that on, right? No. I am from Australia. I'm actually coming to you live from Sydney, Australia. No, I'm not. It'd be pitch black right now and 2 a.m. in the morning. I am coming to you from sunny Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I'd love to show you the picture outside my window, but I think you're all experiencing the same thing right now. I did live in Chicago for quite a period of time. So that's where I got to meet Marie and the amazing Jim Rosas, who was an inspiration of mine as well. So we connected on many, many, many levels. And yes, as Marie said, I have been in the sales game for over 30 years. And practically in that game, whether it was leading financial institutions across the world or whether it's been as a consultant in the last 5 years. So I've got lots of sales experience and I want to share with you. Now, throughout my career, I was passionate about coaching my team. And the reason why I was so successful in banking was because I recognized the value in providing consistent coaching to my team on sales techniques, on things that as business owners, we forget that we actually need to do. And definitely in this current climate, like, should we still be doing it? Well, we absolutely should. And I'll be explaining how you could be doing that in a moment. So first of all, thank you, Marie, for inviting me, and to all the team at Revenue. Great bunch of guys. Thank you to all of you for doing your part. We are going to flatten that curve. So thank you all for doing your part. I know it's a whole new work environment for all of us, so it's a little strange. By the way, I did suggest to Michelle that I should have subtitles here, just in case you don't understand a word I'm saying. So feel free to use the chat box and write something there. Say, what the, crikey, mate, what are you talking about? Happy to provide a translation. But I also want to thank you for investing time in personal development. It's really important that you continue to do that. So it's great that you have this wonderful relationship with @Revenue. And for those of you who've joined all 4 of the previous Business Survival Series webinars, well done. Now, finally, I want to say thank you on behalf of all your clients. Your clients still need you right now. And it's really important that you have that mindset, as well as your future clients, your prospects. They all still need you right now. And so over the next 12 minutes, what I'm going to do is share with you some insights on how you can develop your sales strategy, even during this difficult time. I'm going to refer to it as my why, what, and how of sales excellence. I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay, folks. We will be providing you with a copy of the slides. And let me just, fantastic, there we are. So selling with heart, sales techniques for today and the future. And it is important as a business owner that if you want to survive and ultimately thrive when we get out of this pandemic, and we will, we absolutely will, that you continue to focus on how you can help your clients. And what I'm going to do is share with you a few different insights on how you do it. Now, as a sales strategist for many, many years, regardless of whether I was managing a banking team or running my own business or now working with clients, as I have been right across the globe for the last 6 years as a consultant, I always ask the team to think about these 3 questions when developing your sales strategy. Why, what, and how? And I'm thrilled that Marie later on is going to expand more on the why, but let's start with the why. Why should we be engaging our clients, and why should we still be offering our solutions? And it's very much a mindset thing. And it's really important that if you don't get that why right now, it is going to impact your ability to sell and continue to grow your business. So understanding why. Now, as a sales coach, I'm always preaching this winning mindset. Pre-coronavirus, I would always say to all my banking clients or my small business clients, you need to have this winning mindset. We need to get that excited every day when we help a client with their needs. So selling benefits everyone. Selling isn't something sleazy. It's not what, used car sales people do. This is something that's beneficial to everybody. So when you land that new client, that's how we all celebrate. I know the team at Revenue are always celebrating and pumping every day like that. Well, that's how we should be in our business. So how do you develop that winning mindset? Well, that's what traditional sales coaching is designed to help you with. However, today, things are a little different. Today, it's important that we create this benevolent mindset, because people right now are a little bit wary, a little bit fearful of, selling hard and being very proactive. So all I want you to do is just switch your thinking from this winning mindset, wow, look at these mutual benefits, to one of a benevolent mindset, a kind mindset, a charitable mindset, where every day you're super excited about how many clients you saved. Now, every day when my wife gets home from work, and she still works, she's an ultrasound technician, so God bless her, she's still out there working. She walks in the door and she goes, "How many clients did you save today, honey?" Well, I know there's like 28 people on this webinar, so that gets me excited. So I want you to be thinking about developing this benevolent mindset where we're saving people. And this is what I mean by that. Now is not the time to sell. Like, hey, aren't you a sales coach? Hear me out. Now is not the time to sell, but now we need to be saving our clients. And that's the shift in the mindset that I'm encouraging all of you to have. And I'm going to guide you through the what and the how in a minute, but I want to make sure we really reinforce this benevolent mindset and why you should still be engaging clients and prospects and why you should still be offering your solutions. See, it's important right now to be confident. And this is my confidence model. And you can see that your confidence is underpinned by your beliefs. So if you believe right now that, sales is sleazy right now, and my God, this is something we shouldn't be doing, then obviously that's going to impact your confidence and it's going to impact your actions and behaviors. But if you truly believe that selling or outreaching and engaging your clients is helping them, absolutely helping them, then that will boost your confidence and you will act accordingly. You also need to believe right now that you have amazing solutions that can help your clients. Do you believe that? And I've been coaching a lot of bankers right across the country, especially over the last few weeks. And I've asked them, aren't you confident that your solutions can help many businesses and their employees? And some of them weren't too sure. I said, well, when you go to the hospital, and God forbid any of us needs to do that right now, you want your nurses and doctors to be confident. Well, as a business owner, when you're outreaching to your clients, you need to be confident, believing that we're going to get through this pandemic and that you have wonderful solutions to help them. So think about that. Today in business, we're all problem solvers and lifesavers. And I say that with the utmost respect to the people who are putting their lives on the line, the nurses, the doctors, the healthcare workers, all the emergency responders. But in business, when you have these amazing solutions, your clients have real needs right now. And as Marie knows, I've been working with a lot of bankers. Now, people are suffering from severe financial anxieties right now. And bankers have amazing solutions. What problems are your customers, your clients facing right now that you know you can assist them with? Develop that benevolent, problem-solving, life-saving mindset. So why do we need to save our clients? Because it's the right thing to do. It's absolutely the right thing to do. We have access to resources that they may not have access to and they will need. Saving your clients today will save the economy. Absolutely. We want a sharp bounce back from this. And the only way we can do that is if there's more businesses, more people that are flourishing. It creates loyal relationships. What you do for your clients today will have significant repercussions down the track, and it drives long-term prosperity for all, for you, for your business, for their businesses and their employees. So have you got that benevolent mindset? And do you truly understand why you need to still be engaging clients and offering your solutions? I assure you that the effort you invest in helping your clients survive today will be significantly rewarded when your clients thrive and tell others tomorrow. The experiences your clients are going to be sharing with their network about how you provided some tremendous value is going to produce tremendous value for your business. Make sense? So this is why we need that mindset. Cool. So that was the why. This is the what. Now, whenever I coach, I always share some acronyms, some simple tips like a checklist to help you with your mindset, with your strategy. And this is no different when it comes to what your sales strategy should look like during this difficult time, during this very different economic environment. I want you all to be thinking about how you can save your clients. And in this instance, SAVE is an acronym, S-A-V-E. How do you save your clients? What are the solutions you offer, and do they still apply? The audience, do you understand your target market and your audience and what they're going through? What value are you offering beyond your immediate solutions? What Marie is doing with this webinar is a great example of that. And finally, do you know how to actually engage them right now? Have you developed that engagement strategy? So before you get out there and start picking up the phone and arranging all these Zoom calls or sending out emails, I always encourage you to take a few moments to understand how you can actually save your clients. Be prepared. Put this strategy together. We know why we need to do it. Now, what do we want to do? What do we want to offer? So save for me represents this. What solutions can you offer? That's the S. Do your current solutions help? And if they do, that's fantastic. Continue to offer them. If they don't, can you refine them in some way? Are you offering concessions right now? Whether it's extended payment terms, whether it's discounts, whatever it may be. And again, we don't want to necessarily just discount everything. But again, having that benevolent mindset, wanting to save people right now, there could be some costs that come with that. And who qualifies for those concessions? What does your sales process look like right now? You know, I've been encouraging a lot of people in the finance industry. You have to change your application process right now. We've got to get these approvals done quicker, you know, as Marie experienced. And what strategic partners do you have right now when you are unable to help all your clients? Because this is what you want to do. You want to be able to help all your clients, but you know that there's some that you're not going to be able to help. So do you have strategic partners that you can introduce them to? Right? Be clear about what your solution is right now before you engage them and try to save them. What does your audience need? Audience analysis. My goodness, some of the emails that I've been receiving from service providers, from people who assist coaches, I'm like, you know, dude, do you understand the economic environment we're in right now? Like, really, you want to sell me space on a billboard? I don't know if I really want to invest on a billboard right now, but it's really important that you take the time to analyze and categorize your clients. Who needs you the most? What questions do they have? Understand specific challenges that they have. And what are their survival priorities, right? What are the survival priorities that your clients have? Because I find, especially with me, who needs me the most right now? And I want to make sure I get out there and offer them some great solutions. And then finally, you align your needs to the solutions. So please take the time to do some audience analysis, analyze and categorize, know their challenges, know what challenges your clients are experiencing right now and address them. Okay, so how do you engage? Oop, I missed the V. Excuse me, let me go back. There we go. There's the V. What additional value can you provide? So what information and presentations are you providing to your clients right now? This is value beyond your immediate solutions. I want you to think more broadly outside the box. What Marie is doing right now is fantastic, and her entire team. And I'm sure they're providing even greater value than that. I've been encouraging a lot of my clients to be outreaching beyond loans and deposits and whatever products they sell and think about what information they can share. And some of them are creating these great videos. I have never been so busy. In the last month, I've offered so many free webinars. It's amazing I still have a voice. Amazing I still have an accent, right? But I've been offering so much advice and assistance right now at no cost, because I want to genuinely help, and I'm reaching out to people who need it the most. Do you have access to other resources? Marie talked about the network that @Revenue provides you. Brilliant. So there's a bunch of resources that are available to you. How are you supporting local businesses? If you are a local business, how are you supporting other local businesses? And again, sounds like a big plug for @Revenue, but I've seen a lot of the work that Marie and her team are doing to promote local businesses. That's brilliant. And what other favors can you offer your clients right now? Again, this is the preparation prior to engaging. And finally, you need to know how to engage. Have you created contact lists? Like, who do you want to contact and prioritize them? Develop a script for contacting them, and then arrange meetings. There's a lot of people calling and checking in. That's cool, by the way. That's really great if you're doing that. We can do more than that. We can ask more specific questions and try and arrange a Zoom meeting. I've had so many Zoom meetings lately. It's crazy, and I love it. Phone meetings, whatever. We can't meet in person right now. I'm even scared to shake my own hand, but we can't do that right now. But arrange meetings with your contacts and your clients. Don't simply just check in, even though that's brilliant if you're doing that. And follow up, please, when you meet, follow up. So that's save. That's the what. And now I just want to finish off just with a couple more slides on the how. How do we better engage? And this is the technique or the biggest tip that I can offer you right now in this presentation. make sure that all your engagements with your clients right now are both rational and emotional. Marie talked about the fact that, you know, she got some notice from the bank saying, well, you haven't met the criteria, or not so much haven't met the criteria. We can't approve your loan right now, whatever it may be, whatever it may be. But by the way, Marie, I got that as well. And I shuddered. And there was all these excuses as well about, you know, they still don't understand the guidelines, blah, blah, blah. We can talk about that separately. But there was no emotional engagement, no emotional connection. And it's so important we do that right now. After every engagement with your client, how would they answer these two questions? Am I getting the support I need? So that's the rational thing. It's fantastic. You know, Laura was able to call me and provide the service I want. Laura, I can see you. That's why I'm picking on you. But after the call, how do I feel about the way I'm being treated? And that's really, and that is where, like, Marie could say, well, hang on, geez, fifth third, that was horrible treatment. Thank God she had a wonderful connection there and he treated her brilliantly. Hopefully he saved.
Fifth third was the one that saved, just so everybody knows.
Another thing.
Yes.
Another thing. All right. Enough said. So this is my last slide. It's the 5 E's. And this is again, another tip, another helpful hint on how to engage your clients. And I want you to be thinking about every engagement, whether you prepare a script in advance. And again, you're going to get a copy of my slide, and I'll also provide Marie and her team with a copy of my engagement guide, which has this template on it for you. But every time you're speaking to a client, are you ticking off these 5 E's? Are you being empathetic, acknowledging their situation and appreciating them as a client? This is so important you do that right now. Empathize. Encourage. They want to feel encouraged by you, that you do have a solution to their problem, that you're aware of their problem. And guess what? That they're not alone, that other clients you have the same problem, and that you're being able to help all those clients. Like, that's reassuring, that's encouraging, and that's what they need right now. Ask more specific questions. So explore. Yes, ask how they're feeling. Yes, ask how their family's feeling. But just ask, think of 2 or 3 more specific questions you can really ask. And then the last 2 E's are my favorite. Enlighten them. Offer a solution that relates to their problem, because you've done the homework, and provide advice. This is the extra value you can provide. And when you end your call, confirm next, energize them. Make them feel like, this is the reason why I do business with Laura. This is the reason why I do business with Marie. This is the reason. Well, you've got clear next steps. You're inspiring them with confidence, and they feel like, great, you know, I can't wait to hear from Laura again or Marie again, and look forward to that next meeting. So in finishing, I want you to think about your why, what, and how when developing your sales strategy. Yes, I'm still using the word sales, but right now it's important that we're all saving our clients. So in the first instance, test your confidence. Test your confidence. Challenge any limiting beliefs you have about connecting with your clients. They want to hear from you. They do. Determine how, so the what now is determine how you save, S-A-V-E, your clients. So be prepared. Do your homework first and be prepared. And finally, develop your engagement strategy. How do you engage them during this period? And think about those 5 E's and script your engagement calls accordingly. And that's it from me. So I'll stop my share there.
So one question that I know we hear quite often is, how do we identify those limiting beliefs? Because it's a different experience for everyone. So maybe if you could share some examples of limiting beliefs that you've been hearing, or what we should be looking at in our own emotional context that pops up to derail us.
Yeah, look, great question. And the interesting is, when it comes to sales and selling, there already is this huge underlying underbelly of limiting beliefs that already exist in our gut, right? It's like, oh, you know, I feel pushy. Like, should I really be making that 3rd follow-up call? Of course you should. Why? Because you have tremendous value. So the limiting beliefs kind of start and end with, is sales pushy? And oh my gosh, everybody's suffering right now. So it's like the last thing we should be doing. It's not. And I hear it all the time. I'm hearing it from bankers. I'm hearing it. I work with a major infrastructure company in Australia. Like, oh, nobody's doing infrastructure works at the moment. Yes, they do. Yes, they are. Excuse me. Small business owners aren't borrowing money right now. Yeah, they need it more than ever. You know, so there's the first thing to do is to immediately eradicate that limiting belief that people don't need your solution right now. They absolutely do. And that people don't want to be sold to right now. You're not selling, you're saving them. They have some real genuine problems right now that you can help them with. So to get over that, reflect on the SAVE acronym, that SAVE. Because if you do that preparation first, then you'll find that, oh my God, when you get to the E part, the engage, oh my God, I've got so much to offer. I'm a sales coach. If I had the mentality that no bank, no financial institution, no company wants coaching right now, that I'd be sitting here like twiddling, my hair would be even longer and be sitting here in my like singlet, as we call them in Australia, right? It's the opposite. I know that banks really need help right now. Businesses really need help right now. So I focus on that save mentality and I'm engaging accordingly.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things that I see is really kind of that experience of selling with our own pocketbooks. If you think that your business is in trouble and you see your cash flow slipping, we automatically start telling ourselves the story that that's happening to everyone, when that's not necessarily the case. Yeah. And it also, that's the first thing that'll pop up that instigates discounting on the spot or puts you at a disadvantaged position when we have to negotiate what things look like. And there's a lot of pivot points here, guys. We're not having the same conversations. Is there anybody else that has a question for Joe before we go into a little bit more of the psychological components of how to make this a great experience for everyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, silence. Okay, perfect. So
hopefully they understood everything I said. I noticed one person worked in Brisbane. That's awesome, mate. So hopefully everyone understood.
Well, and guys, if there are any additional questions, we're going to make, of course, like every event we have, we're going to make sure you've got Joe's info. We're going to make sure that you can connect with him directly. But Joe and listen, we're very like spirits in how we view the world. And I think you and I have the absolute blessing of being reverse pessimists. Correct. Right? We are these driven optimists that are always going to find a way to be of service, because we know on the bigger scale of things, we're here to serve. And I don't think that anybody that's in this virtual room is here because they don't have something that's burning and driving them forward in what it is that they're doing. If you were just selling widgets for the sake of getting widgets into the world, you would not care enough to have taken an hour out of your morning. And so as we dive a little bit deeper into the psychology, and again, please make sure that you raise your hand as you have questions. I want to make sure that we're talking about not only where we are, but where the clients are coming from and how to be able to really identify with that. So let me bring you into my screen share. And we want to talk about getting back into that heart space. Everybody really ready to talk about your feelings? Yay!
Absolutely.
Love it. Best. So for those of you that have done work on sales process and tonality and really understanding effective communication with others, right now, that soft and nurturing tonality is mission critical. And we're going to go through a little bit of transactional analysis, how to understand what tonality is and how people are responding back and forth. Because as you're connected to your why, there are absolutely times, and I don't know if you all have experienced this, but I know that I've been sitting there with somebody who is saying, well, listen, we know that when things get tough, sales and marketing are the first things to go. And my inner monologue is, that is the stupidest thing I have ever heard. What is wrong? This is probably not the appropriate approach for a current situation. although sometimes it may be. So when we orient in our why, know that there's a lot of passion there for you. That passion is going to feel different from the person that's receiving it. So I want you to, as you're doing this planning, and guys, yes, it 100% is going to take you time to sit down and be reflective and debrief this webinar. Put into action the things that you're picking up today so that you can have a plan for tomorrow. But I want you to pull in what your client's experiencing from that place of fear. And we know that there's some hallmark things. In the back of this slide, we put together a list in one of our very first small business survivalist webinars that addresses pain, fear, and gain, which are the 3 motivating factors behind why people make decisions. Right now, we have to be talking to what part of the fear or the pain our services or businesses are solving. And it's not a comfortable place to be, right? It's way more comfortable to talk about gain. We are not in a gain economy right now. There are a lot of people that have switched down in Maslow's hierarchy to survival. And if you are not part of their survival plan, you do not have an offering for them right now. So it's time to pivot. And if I want to raise my hand and say, if you need a pivot conversation, if we need to have that talk about how can I reframe my services so that they are appropriate to meet my market where they are, we will find the time. I may give you homework first, but we will find the time. The second piece of really being in your why is if you're connecting with people, which is exactly what Joe was talking about. We're not selling anymore. We're saving, we're connecting, we're building relationships. You've got to be in that space at that time. And one of the things that has been a tenet in my life, and a lesson that I've had the pleasure of learning over and over again, is that the most that people really want from you is for you to be present when you're there with them. Whether it's your kids or your spouse or the sales prospect across from you or somebody in your network that just needs to have that moment. If you're in that conversation, checking every alarm and function that comes in, that emotion, that energy is readable, even though we are only working through screens right now. And in next week's small business webinar, we're going to be working with Katie Gore, who's a speech pathologist that specializes in things like executive function and powerful presentation through video when you're used to talking to humans with your face next to their face. But it's that energy that they're going to be picking up on that is going to be part of your influence. And if as a salesperson, you are swayable to their emotional experience and inconsistent in how you walk through processes, even inconsistent in your tonality and how you're communicating with them, they're going to pick up on that. And here's a little impression that I want to make on you. I've said it probably 10 million times in my career at this point, and I never exaggerate. Sales is the first ambassador of your brand. And if you're not consistent in your sales process and experience, that is going to tell them what it is going to be like to work with you. Anybody here familiar with training your clients from the very first conversation, right? You got to keep your consistency here, or there's a really good chance on the other side, you're going to end up with a pile of crazy that you don't want to deal with. And it's going to cost you money to take care of them. That consistency in brand starts in this conversation, this relationship, and moves forward. And create groups. Make sure that the networks that you have are a part of your why. One of the tenets of how at Revenue has built network over the past 20 years is that we carry our values around on our sleeve. And if the values that you really possess and bring forward in your business are true to who you are, and if they're instilled in the organization that you work with, and your team members really understand the values and the why, you are going to start to attract like individuals that have the same value system. And if you're super lucky, you'll get to avoid those that don't. The other thing that is going to be really critical is it is your job to make it okay. And right now, there are a lot of people that are not okay, right? They are terrified. Everything has changed. I don't know what the hell is going on with this new schooling platform that they're using, but parents, I heard of a school on the north side that found a way to mail their children their recorders so that they could practice at home. Because I'm not sure how this became a critical part of their educational progression, but I do know how it became a part of why their parents went insane during the next 3 weeks. People are in a space of just not being okay. And it's okay to go there with them in the relationship building process, as long as you're in an emotional space where you can still pull up and say, listen, it's okay to not be okay right now, but I'd like to find some space to talk about this particular issue so that we can start to serve and start to fix what's not okay. One of the things that we are seeing so consistently is the impacts that massive amounts of stress are having on how people are communicating right now. I know that half of the steps that I get in during the day are just going into a room and forgetting why I'm there, then retracing my steps and coming back to that room to see if my brain will kick in again. That's happening in conversations as well. And you're going to hear more about that next week when we talk about executive function. And really, literally, my brain is so overwhelmed. My cortex, my frontal cortex is crunchy. I can hear myself try to think, and the words are not coming out of my mouth appropriately. It's happening over and over again. I want to encourage you to call it out way ahead of time. It is okay to frame your sales conversations with, hey, listen, just so you know, I might be speaking a little more slowly than I usually do today, because everybody's got a lot on their minds, and I want to make sure that I'm communicating as effectively as I can for you. Is that okay? You know what the answer is going to be? Yes, of course, they're feeling the same thing. Now, you've given them permission for their moments of duh that are going to happen during that conversation. And it can be a common experience as opposed to what might have felt like a failure or a misstep in your previous sales life. Anybody else out there also experiencing a lack of patience? God bless. I have my mother with me. She is helping my daughter with her schooling, and she's amazing. She just turned 68 right after my daughter turned 8 last week, and she has taught herself Common Core. I don't know Common Core. And then they switched the whole thing on her, and my mother, who's the most patient, loving person on earth, snapped at the teacher the other day. And I was like, and of course it was in my name, because it's all virtual. And I was like, wow, for that level of stress to change the world's sweetest mom and grandma to having get out of my way moment, we know that everybody is feeling it. Know that that is not about you, right? If there is a curtness in someone's voice or experience, you have the ability to actually bring them back to your space of being soft and nurturing. And we're going to go through that in a minute. The other thing that you are going to be seeing is those that do suffer with emotional issues or conditions, it is coming to the top, right? And people are also, I think we're in a very interesting space as a society that people are way more willing to talk about it. People are talking about panic attacks and anxiety and sleep deprivation and just the general wants to be around and to be touched. I don't know about you, but there's been very few networking events that I've ever attended that people have said, God, I just want to be touched. But it's happening. It's happening. You being in a space where you're okay to listen to that and to make that okay for them is going to help build trust in where we're at. And that trust is going to allow us to ask questions, okay? And that is really where we want to go. You have no business saving or selling unless you are truly understanding where that person is. And we can't get there unless we're able to ask the kinds of questions that are going to open them up to what the true need is. If we are a good fit for taking care of those needs, because it has to be a fit for both of you, and what it's going to look like to make it work. How many of you, just by use your reactions tab at the bottom of your Zoom screen to give me a thumbs up? How many of you are familiar with transactional analysis? A little bit? No? So there's a lot of folks out there that know the ego states. We know some of the base points of communication and psychology. And I think transactional analysis is absolutely part of how we are going to help people stay okay during our conversations. And I want to set a tone for this, guys. This is never about manipulation or getting somebody to do something that they don't want to do or putting somebody in an awkward position. It is the opposite of that. This is you being able to understand the base pieces of how people go through on an emotional level, where they are as a child, a parent, and an adult, and how your voice, your interaction with them is going to impact that, okay? And here's why it's important. This is not the time for you to Miss Cleo and guess what somebody is thinking or feeling right now. You are not a psychic. You are not in a place where you can assume their experience, right? And so we have got to get to a place where we can actually ask those questions and get some honest answers. One of the tenets of how people are kind of programmed from 0 to 5, and most of us get our emotional programming between 0 and 5 years old. Yay. Which makes you think back to like every interaction you had with your kid from 0 to 5 and have some feelings about it. But we're programmed to do a few things. And one of those things is answering questions. If your mom asks you a question and you don't answer, can you pull up like automatically the tone of voice that mom goes into when you don't answer that question? Right? Are you listening? I asked you, like, boom, it brings you right back into that space. Even if you ask someone a completely random or odd question, chances are they're going to do their best to answer you. Unless they tell you, I don't want to talk about it. In which case, we've got to pull them back into a better state of mind. We've made it not okay for them. There's a few kinds of questions that we want to make sure that we play with here. And I want to put out the questions, and then we're going to talk about how to empower it through that transactional analysis and tonality. So as we're starting to understand where our prospect or our relationship is, we've got to make sure that we're giving them some open-ended questions that give them a chance to truly express where they're at and what's going on for them, right? If you find yourself in a yes-no conversation, you are not connecting with that person. They are going through some kind of perfunctory experience that is meant to kind of keep you on the outside of what they're actually emotionally processing. And this is where we've really got to empower our tone of voice. We're going to get there in a second. The second way that you can help people get to a place where they can give you real answers is to give them some lead-ins or some menu approach questions. listen, I don't know if you're experiencing what some of my other clients are experiencing, but give them an A, B, C. Are you experiencing, are your salespeople afraid to move forward? Have you stopped having sales conversations because you don't know what you're supposed to say or how to open that door? Or are you having sales that are just simply ghosting on you and you don't have a plan to bring them back? What's happening in your business, right? And one of the best ways to find some of these menu approach questions is to actually reflect and debrief through conversations that you've been having. We'll talk about reflection a lot in our sales process, because those of you that are into personal development know you ain't going to get no better if you ain't looking at what you're doing. I'm pretty sure that's a really famous quote from somewhere. But you've got to make sure that you're living in what the reality is now, so that you can give them just a little bit to identify with, or say, no, that's not where I'm at. Here is where I'm at. And now we're going to start talking about that tone and that transactional analysis piece of where they're at when they're answering that question mentally. So we know the ego states, and the ego states are actually, we're going to push those off to the side because those are actually theories. Transactional analysis has been tested and tested and tested, and it is a foundation. So this is not a theory, this is an actuality. As people, we have 3 states that we're functioning in: parent, child, and adult. There's 2 components that are created in the first 5 years, and that is actually the critical parent and the parent ego state and the child ego state, right? Because those are the 2 examples that we have. We don't get to adult ego state until we've experienced some independence and we've been able to make choices and suffer the repercussions of those choices on our own. When you're thinking about the tone of your voice as you're asking these questions, I want you to think back to what your critical parent sounded like. And those of us that are trying to teach our kids at home know exactly what our critical parent voice sounds like, because we're like, did you read the thing that was on the screen before you pushed the button, right? It's got a much different cadence. I know that I can still hear the voice that my dad used to use to get my attention, and I kind of shaking my shoes a little bit. This is where we go into judgment, and it is going to come through your tonality really clearly. Even if their parent had a different kind of style than you did, they know when you're being critical or judgmental of where they're at. The nurturing parent is that much softer tone. It's a slower speed of speech, and it's where we're there to wrap them up and understand them and help save or provide a solution that's going to help them move forward, even if the solution is not us, right? I'm going to flip down to child ego state, because this is typically how they're going to be responding to you, unless we get to adult to adult. So natural child is where we are playful and impulsive and fun-loving and curious and all of those wonderful things. Guess who's not hanging out very much these days? Natural child, right? People are in a reactive state, and that does not leave a lot of space for playful curiosity. There's the rebellious child. When you have someone that is in a rebellious child frame of mind, they are reactionary, they are pushing, they are putting up every roadblock that they possibly can. And you've got the ability, by using a nurturing parent tone of voice, to be able to bring them back into a space that will allow for better conversation. And then you've got your adaptive child. Most of your folks are going to spend a lot of their time here, because at their core, people want to be liked. And so adaptive child state is where they're answering questions, they're trying to please on some level, and you can tell that they want to be part of what's happening. Now, why this is so important is we've got to know where our tone needs to be when we're asking those questions and when we need to come up to adult. So most likely when we are in our discovery and commitment phases of our conversations, and for those of you that have not been to a like a sales hackathon or an executive brief without revenue where we go through the absolute steps of your sales process, just know that this is where you're asking questions or asking for the sale. You need to be in parent nurturing. You need to be taking care of them and asking questions that allow them to really stay in that adaptive child phase. When we're talking about what we're actually doing and what we can provide, you're going to need to bring your tone up and start talking adult to adult, because adult to adult is where decisions are made, right? So we want to take some of that softness off of it, still keeping things okay, but be willing to give it to them straight, give them the answers, and you will see them level up to where you are, or they will stay in child's natural or child adaptive and continue to answer questions. What I would like to challenge you to do as you're starting to have these conversations is think through where you hear yourself and where you hear the other person in their tonality and how they're responding to you. And there's going to be some additional assets in here that if you are a psych geek like I am, that are going to allow you to dive in a little bit more deeply into these analyses. But your tone of voice is 100% what's going to keep this process okay for the person across from you, whether they're across the screen or on the phone. In this deck, there's going to be some tips on exactly how to make sure that you're pulling them back into an okay state of mind. Please take a moment to go through these and make sure that as you're dealing with their problems, you have a space that you can go that is logical. And that is your adult to adult. That is where we get into an intellectual conversation about what we can do next. In here too is a great video that is going to give you a really great example of what it looks like to use your tonality to close a sale or to move through those pieces really quick. And I'm gonna play it. It's a minute.
Hello, John. How are you doing today?
Hear it?
You mailed in my.
And listen, none of us want to be the wolf from Wall Street right now. That's not the appropriate sales context and where we want to be. But when we've got those opportunities, I want you to think back to how he pitched up and down for that, and really how your voice is coming through on that call. We're going to make sure that we send you the deck, guys. We are at 11 o'clock on the button. So for those of you that do have questions that would like to stick around and chat, I want to make sure that you've got time for that. And I will continue to hold a little bit of space, but I also want to make sure that you guys can get back to cracking. We will send the follow-up email by noon today, and you guys will get first access to next week's Small Business Survivalist event, which is always free. And we're going to be talking about better Zoom calls and executive function and how to really make those communications, whether it's conference or individual, as impactful as possible. Thank you all. Thank you, Joe. You're an absolute rock star. I know people are going to benefit so tremendously from the information you shared today. So guys, we're going to do an official, I don't know if I should have like a musical swell, or maybe we'll just ask Lori if we did a good job. She says yes. Those of you that would like to have your questions answered are more than welcome to stay. Those of you that want to peace out, and we love y'all. And guys, thank you for all of the comments that are there. Okay, so I'm going to warn you guys. You ready for the warning? I'm going to open up and unmute. Ready? Anybody that has screaming children, mute thyself.
Marie Shaley had a question. She says she wants to know how she can frame her calls better. What should I prepare them for?
That is agenda setting, Shaley. Right. So I think you were at the sales hackathon, right?
No, but goals one day.
Goals. Okay.
I was at the morning brief.
Gotcha. So when you're doing those calls, setting an agenda and a frame for that so that we know what the purpose of the call is, how long the call is going to be so that they've got a framework for it. And you talk about what you want to ask them and what their expectations are, and then sum it up with an outcome so that you know where you're going and that it's not just going to be a conversation for conversation's sake, is really going to help give you a container for what that conversation is going to be. And it's going to allow you to ask permission to guide the conversation in it. So if you'd like to connect Shaylee one-on-one on how to do some powerful agenda setting, I will absolutely make the time to go through that with you.
That's very kind. That's huge. So grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Valerie Fuson, I can see your name. I would love to see your face, but it's so lovely to see you on here. Were there any additional questions? No is an okay answer. Okay, guys, we're going to send you the decks. I just know that in my deck, I've attached some appendices from some of the other small business hackathon or small business survivalist series that we've done so that you've got more data points that you can combine. We do encourage you to absolutely download those pieces. Make sure that if you have questions that you don't hesitate to ask. You've got direct email access to Joe and myself. And we've also got some additional resources that we're going to put in that email for you so that those of you that are ready to take and pivot your businesses in your sales processes, in your sales strategies right now, that we can help you move that forward, because we know that that's not a one webinar experience. So thank you for sharing the sales love today and the professional love. Joe, thank you for spending the time with us. I'm so blessed to know you. And guys, we will see you same time next week. All right.
Great job, Marie. Great job,
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Marie.
Bye.
Thanks, Marie.
Thank you. Bye, guys.